So I'm filming a wedding today. It's quite a distance from where I live. I drove 3 hours north last night, stayed over in a Premiere Inn, nice and glamorous. No, they are quite comfortable. And another 40-minute drive this morning to get there. The reason I'm making this little video is because as a recent Sony a7S II convert coming from the 5D Mark III, shooting on the 5D Mark III with the Technicolor Cine style profile, I was used to a very soft looking image. I loved the way the highlights looked, and you know, I would never grade it really heavily. I really liked the look that you got from it. You know, I'd just add a little bit of contrast, you know, increase the black levels and add my sharpening. And that was pretty much it. You know, that was how I got my look, and I loved that look. I have been shooting that way since sort of 2012, and yeah, I'm so used to that. I just love it. So it was quite a change going to the a7S II, and I just wasn't happy with the results I was getting from the standard profiles, the Cine Gammas. The way I'm used to exposing just doesn't work with the Cine Gammas. As people have pointed out, you're supposed to underexpose the Cine Gammas a little bit, but I'm just not used to that. It feels wrong, and you know, the results where I'm just shooting naturally the way I'm used to, I'm getting better results with SLOG3. It's much closer to what I'm used to on the Canon, which I absolutely love, the skin tones and just the look of the image. And I'm able to get it to the final look much quicker. So anyway, I'm going to try not ramble too much. All I'm going to say is it's the first wedding shooting with SLOG3, and I'd like to show you some samples from the wedding, and I'll maybe show you what it looks like on the monitor, because I use a Zacuto EVF to monitor, and I've boosted the contrast right up on that, so it makes it a lot easier to just judge it as you're shooting. Come on. So I feel very confident, but there's always, you know, an element of anxiety whenever you're doing something different for the first time, especially when it's something that's going to affect all the wedding footage, all the footage, and being a wedding, obviously there's even more on the line. It's such a special event that can't be redone.
There was the car and I got 10 minutes, the old hero appears marching up the street, proud as punch, with a pair of shoes in hand. They're all fairly impressed. But he managed to find the only charity.
So that's me just finished the speeches. I'm just nipping to the petrol garage to get some fuel for the way back, whilst I've got this break. Shooting the SLOG3 with the Zacuto EVF I've found to be super easy. I was paying attention to, you know, trying whenever possible not to blow out the highlights. Oh, need to let someone past. And also making sure I was as close to 2 stops over as possible, but also at the same time judging, you know, the kind of exposure on people's skin, and you know, I got used to what it should look like, you know, from all my testing. So based on those 3 things, and also, you know, using the histogram as well, using all these things for my exposure aids, occasionally would flick false color on, but rarely. I mean, it's just it takes a wee bit of time to do that. Just, you know, distracts you from what you're doing, breaks the flow. But no, I found it to be incredibly easy. I was starting to get quite worried about it, just because you know, a lot of people online were like, oh, you know, it's you know, well dodgy recording in log for a wedding, and yeah, I think had I not had the Zacuto EVF, it would have, although I don't like shooting without that anyway. Where the hell is this petrol garage? So I'm just back at the hotel after filming today, and just firing up Adobe Premiere, and I'm basically just going to have a check and make sure that all these, I'm trying to be quiet because people will be sleeping. It's like quite late. So I'm just going to find out, do a quick grade of these files and just see if they're okay. I feel really confident that they will be good, but obviously I won't know till I start checking them out on here, so fingers crossed. I'm just basically going through here, clicking on random clips, and just applying my basic correction. Yes, this footage is looking fantastic. I'm really happy. This is very, very reassuring. Got like a 3-hour drive. Okay, so I'm back in the office just working away on this wedding I shot at the weekend that was entirely shot in SLOG3, and I'd like to just show you, the results, what the footage looked like before and after I'd treated it with the Lumetri color panel in Adobe Premiere CC 2015. So I'm just going to look at this first clip here. And you can see here I've already applied the Lumetri color. I'm just going to check that off. And this is what the footage looked like when I got back. Very, washed out, but you can probably see compared to regular SLOG3, there's a bit more color in it. And that's because, as I possibly mentioned, I increased the saturation just to make everything a little bit easier to work with on the day, easier to set your color balance, etc. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste another Lumetri, and I'm just going to reset it just so you can see my workflow from start to finish on one clip. I'll try and do it reasonably fast so you get an idea. So basically, first things first, I'm just going to add an S curve just to put some contrast into it, and not going too mental on the highlights, keeping roundabouts there. So you can see it still looks overexposed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the exposure, and I think minus 0.5 or 6, I'll go 5 to begin with just to see that. And you can see there, that brings it down. I'll bring up the scopes just so you can see where the kind of exposure, what it's looking like. And yep, so I want to bring in a bit more saturation. In fact, on this, just because I've already done this, I know roughly what I'm doing. So I'm going to go 160, which will make the grass look oversaturated. But all of this here, the house and everything, I would say, that looks fine. It's not oversaturated, it looks good, but as I say, the only thing is the grass. The reason I've put it up is because I want to bring a bit more color into the sky, which there was a very faint blueness to the sky. So what I'm going to do is come down to curves, and in this hue saturation curve wheel thing, I'm just going to bring out, just look for it here, and yep, around about there. We're just, see if I bring it down and back out, you see I'm not going to push it to the edge, but just to bring out a little bit of blue tint in there. But obviously the grass is still a bit too, it's sort of a yellowy green, so I'll put a few points in roundabouts here and just bring that down just a little bit, just so it's not quite is saturated. And you can see there, I think that's looking pretty good. I mean, I don't like overly harsh. I quite like having a lot of the the dynamic range in there, so I'm not going to crush it within an inch of its life. I'll bring down the black level a tad. I don't want to lose the info in here. I want to keep that, so maybe round about there. And even if I bring the highlights down ever so slightly, and yeah, I would say, to be honest, what I'll do is I'll also add a little bit of sharpening, because the sharpening was right down. I do like things to be sharp but kind of soft in terms of color and contrast. So here we go, there we go, that's pretty much the finished image. And again, I'll just flick that on and off, off and on, off and on. And I have to say, I'm really happy with how all of this footage is looking. I'm just going to delete that because this is a current project I'm working on. And again, I just copied and pasted that for that, bringing out the blue and bringing back the green a little bit. I don't want the green to become luminous. And again there, and here we go. Here's the sun it kind of dipped away a bit in this last shot, but it'd come out again here. Again, I was doing the exact same thing, just copy and paste, and it looks great. For the shots where there wasn't faint sky in it that I didn't want the blue, I didn't put the blue up. So I'm pretty sure if I go up to curves, yep, that one's just normal. But you can see if I turn the Lumetri color off and on, you know, it looks great. And the entire day I was overexposing by about 2 stops, as I mentioned, trying not to blow out highlights wherever possible, although the emphasis was on overexposing by 2 stops. I wanted to make sure that I absolutely wasn't going to get noise in the shadows, but at the same time I wanted the control you get when grading S-Log footage, and S-Log3 in this case. But I think the actual look of the footage, and this one was slightly different. I think I brought the highlights a lot further down on this one, so it was at 59.1. So if I bring them up and bring them back down, it just brings a wee bit more color into the sky there. So yeah, and obviously it's a bit darker. I'm not interested in going all out, you know, HDR look or anything, and I'll just boost it up. But you see, you could do that, and how much noise there is. I mean, then you could bring the blacks down and then boost the saturation a bit. But to be honest, I'm not that fussed. You know, I really don't mind that. The great thing with S-Log is it does give you that, and if you're overexposing, you know, you can boost the shadow detail and not worry too much about the noise. And if there is any, again, look, this is all, you know, indoors, and I'd had zero problem with noise, and I'm pretty sure I was probably up at like 16,000 ISO or something on some of these shots, and it looked absolutely fine. Here's in the ceremony room, and again, you know, you could have exposed it to retain some of this highlight information, but again, my being the first wedding I'd shot in S-Log3, my main goal was to shoot clean and not have any noise in the shadows. So I really wasn't going to start pushing the range of the camera too much. I just really wanted the nice soft highlights that you can get with S-Log compared to the Cine Gammas. And again, people have said, you know, you can get comparable looks with the Cine picture profiles, but then that means underexposing, and to be honest, this is just much more like what I was used to on the Canon shooting the Technicolor Cine style profile. So yeah, I'm just going to go to an outdoor shot just with some skin tones. Oh, I just missed a shot there. Was that just looking for a decent shot to show. Well, there's some, well, pick someone else. Here, pick him. Right, so if I just turn it off, so that's what I'm looking at, although not entirely true. I was going to say that's what I'm looking at when I'm recording, but because I'm using the Zacuto EVF with the contrast turned all the way up, it's actually, it obviously doesn't look like that, but it's not as bad as that. I would say it's somewhere in between, but obviously I get back and I've got these files, and then I'm able to correct them. So most of the day, because it was all exposed so similarly all through the entire day, it was just a case of using the same Lumetri sort of settings, and then just find one of the, well, they're all coming in now. Let's see, I'll find the, here we go, here's the car. Right, so it was just a case of mainly changing this exposure value here. So I'd just go minus 0.3, say, and you know, you can see it makes a big difference, minus 0.5. But on this shot, I mean, minus 0.1 is probably fine. I still want it to be nice and bright. And again, you can just increase contrast to your taste. So I'll just actually, you know, if you want to do it this way, a quick way, you know, you can bring it back in. I do prefer things to be a little bit softer in terms of contrast, so I'm just going to leave that as it is. But yeah, I'm extremely happy with how it's all worked out. And last thing I'll show you is the nighttime footage. So this is all shot on the dance floor, obviously. You can see I've got a light there, that's an LED light, indoor balanced. It's a, you know, bicolor LED, and I've got it to the indoor lighting, and over in this corner you can see the light on this chair here. From there I've got a deado light coming in, so a harder light. And yeah, I have to say, although it looks really bright, it wasn't actually like I was, you know, overtaking the room with, I mean, you can see how bright it is there. That was like black. It was so dark in the background there. And but with the A7S II, obviously, you can crank the ISO up so high, and I think all these shots will be at f2.8. There was a few shots that I shot at f1.4 on the Sigma Art 35mm f1.4, but the vast majority was just the Canon 7200 2.8 IS2, all at f2.8. But, you know, I'm cranking the ISO up. It just gives you this really nice bright exposure, this vibrant, colourful look. That shot was slightly slowed down. And yeah, the lights really weren't overpowering. They were quite subtle, but it obviously makes it look like they're really bright just because of the way I'm exposing. But yeah, again, overexposed by 2 stops and monitoring with the Zacuto EVF. And it was super easy. I really didn't have any issues exposing, and no issues with noise. Everything is super clean. And again, I'll just pick out a shot at random. I'll wait for one where I can see someone's face. Maybe well, wait until there's a bit more light on their face. So everyone's dancing around too much. They're moving too much. Okay, right. Well, we'll go here. Right. So if I go into the Lumetri color, let's make sure I've got the right one selected. Again, I'll go minus 0.6, so you can bring it right down, and it still looks fantastic. Or just at 0, so you can see how bright it actually is. Yeah, I wasn't really blowing out. I need to go back to that clip and make sure I correct it. I think I had it about minus point, what was it, 2 or minus 0.1 even. That minus 0.1 can make a huge difference. And yeah, nice, vibrant, clean images. And as I say, the lighting, although it looks bright, really, you know, was very, you know, non-invasive. It was just to really, the main thing was to help make things look a bit more interesting rather than to illuminate, because I could have quite easily exposed the dark dance floor with the A7S II, but it looks way better with the lighting, in my opinion. Obviously it's but yeah, no, it looks a lot better. So anyway, I hope that was helpful, and if you've got any questions regarding shooting an SLOG3 with the Zacuto EVF and basically the workflow that I've been using, feel free to comment below and I'll do my best to answer any questions you've got. If you like this content, subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff, and I look forward to shooting some more videos for you.